So there are some remaining questions. When I look back at the church environment, one question really lingers for me. Where were the mandated reporters? Where were the adults who understood what was happening? Where were the people who were trained to recognize abuse? Where were the people who have been protecting a child instead of protecting the system? Where were these people? Where were the people that should have been protecting children instead of protecting the system? Because the truth is, many of them were present. They saw things, they heard things, they sensed things. But instead of acting, the problem became church gossip, avoidance, bystander effect. Somebody else will deal with it. I don't. There's so many people here that surely somebody else will deal with it, so I don't have to call the police, so I don't have to report this. Somebody else will do it. And gossip doesn't protect children. Actions does. Action is the thing that protects children. So, what is the larger issue here? The purpose of telling this story, while this had some elements of healing and catharsis for me, my primary goal was to bring awareness to the situation, to help folks who are in the situation right now, also to prevent this from happening any further, because it is still a pervasive issue, right? A systemic issue that many of you are witnessing in real time. Maybe you're not putting all the signs together, but you have seen signs. And so hopefully by the end of this series, you have been taught to identify the multitude of signs that constitute of abuse, of grooming. So this is not about one church or one pastor or one bishop or even one community. This is about a broader issue that exists in many institutions. When authority and reputation become more important than accountability and vulnerability, people get hurt. People get hurt and sometimes irreparably damaged. So the system that should protect them becomes the system that silences them. And that is a dangerous place when we are silencing the vulnerable. Because you may not think, some of us, if it's not in my backyard, if it doesn't affect me kind of thing, why should I? I don't have real incentive to engage it. And I want you to challenge yourself on that, right? Because it is in your backyard. And things don't necessarily ask your permission to come into your backyard before they're already there in a invasive kind of pest, right? So the reality in the situation is child abuse does not happen only in schools, folks. So for those of you who are mandated reporters or mandated reporting adjacent, I want you to know this. It does not only happen in families. It happens in churches too. When it does, the responsibility to intervene does not disappear simply because the setting is spiritual. Children deserve protection everywhere. People who are vulnerable to grooming and abuse, children or adults, are deserving of protection everywhere, including the church, especially the church. So my closing reflection on all of this, before I kind of jump into responding to some of the comments. I've gotten a lot of commentary, so I really appreciate everybody who has been supportive of this messaging. And I will be reaching out collectively and individually and then maybe in live sessions also, because I want to have a larger conversation. I don't want it to stop here. So when I think about my younger self sitting in that sanctuary, I realized something painful. There were many adults around me, many people who believed they were doing God's work, but very few who were willing to do the one thing that actually protected a child. And that silence speaks louder than anything, that was ever preached over that pulpit. I hope this helps somebody, and thank you for sticking around for this series.